Is this going to be a woke episode or a normie episode?
This is going to be connected with our higher selves. We're going to discuss our galactic mission. What's going on, everyone? This is Pablo Mentor. This is the Fashion Matrix. I got a special, very special guest, one of my best friends, my brother, and someone who has been here before. We all know him, and his input on the things that we're going to discuss today is going to be really, really fucking phenomenal. So without any further ado, what's going on, brother? Bryan Casella, what's up?
Man, Pablito, we haven't talked in a minute, man. Well, we talk all the time, but we haven't jumped on a podcast, dude. And I'm really excited today because we're going to release some of that ancient ancestral wisdom, which is always good.
Okay, hijo de puta. Yeah, man. So there's a number of things that I wanted to talk with you today, man. And the first thing is the bullshit that we're experiencing on your event, my event, right? Because of the mandatory bullshit that we're seeing on this pandemic. Yeah, that's right. Pandemic, right? I know that you have your event going on Texas somewhere around March, right? And you invited me, man. And I'm not going to be able to make it because they're forcing me to take a motherfucking test that you and I have done our own research on it. And because the way that you and I think, you know, people immediately tag us or tag me as a conspiracy theorist, right? But the facts are there. And you and I, since the very beginning, we started seeing documentaries and researching the very same documentaries. And, I know that you've been, messaging me information about how this thing is developing, and then we go back and forth. Yeah. So, first of all, because I am a free citizen of the world, right? I say, you know what? I choose to whether take it or not. But this time is different. This time, I'm not going to be able to travel outside of Mexico unless I actually fucking do it. And I believe that's very fucked up. I believe that's against freedom, man. So I want to know your input on that. That's it from me.
Yeah, bro. The interesting part is if you even rewind just 1 year or 2 years and us discussing this and even the information that we put out and posts that we've made, any prediction that we've made or shared from other people has come true, where we said, hey, they're doing this to do shady shit during the election, which for sure there's enough evidence to show that something was off, right? Something was off for sure. Number two, we told people they would try to force vaccinations and IDs to travel a year ago or more. And what's happening now? You can't travel and I can't travel there without sticking a Q-tip up our ass, right? Or getting the vaccine. So as we continue this, how many times does a previous prediction have to be correct or right for people to finally say, because at the very minimum, even if you don't want to believe everything we talk about and what we discuss, there's enough, like they say in the judicial system here in the United States, there's enough to cause reasonable doubt. And you can't convict somebody of a crime, technically speaking, by the law, if there's reasonable doubt. And in everything we discuss, even if I'm not 100% sure on something, there's enough reasonable doubt for me to say, whoa, okay, I don't want to do this. I'm not comfortable taking this test. I don't want to get this vaccine. I have enough question marks or I don't like this to say, okay, I don't want to do it. Now, what Pablo brought up now is a violation, what I believe to be of humanity, because now I can't travel because I'm forced to take a test. Now we're being forced. I mean, even now they lift the mask mandate in Texas, which is fantastic. Everything phenomenal. Is open 100%. But a lot of people are still complaining. And I know the business owners, because they're scared that people are going to shit on their business and give them bad reviews online, they're still going to force people to wear fucking masks, even though the government said no more masks. So it's almost as if we're in a position now where even if you get people to agree with you, there's still some way for the woke people, whatever the fuck you call them, right? That's what they call them, the woke,
the wokesters. Yeah.
They still find a way to fuck it up, just like recently. And then I'll pass it back to you. Jose made a video, I don't know if you saw on his Instagram, about relationships, and it got viral. It got like 150,000 views. True. And people complained. They complained to our real estate company, bro, EXP. And the people at EXP, because they felt so much pressure, threatened to kick Jose out of the company, bro. They threatened, and I contacted the leader and said, yo, what you just did is horrible. You need to talk to him, and this needs to be a fair assessment before you make any decision. Because if you kick him out, I'm leaving, and I'm going to take a lot of people with me because that's bullshit. You're just giving into cancel culture, right? So and just like you, are very like, hey, leave us alone, right? You don't have to agree with what the fuck we say or what we
Yeah.
do, but I'm going to live my life and do what the fuck I want to do. And as long as you don't try to impose yourself on me, I don't care. If you want to fucking believe in, Jesus Christ or Buddha or Allah, whatever the fuck it is, and live your life over there, get a vaccine, wear a mask, cool, go do it over there. But don't sit there and yell at me and then say, no, you have to do it because
Yeah.
you're an endangerment to the society. That's where the problem is, bro. And we've been discussing this for a long time, man. And I'll pass it back to you because now it's getting to the point where they're in our space and they're fucking with our way of living, which is now a big problem.
That's the big problem. And I love the way that you said it. Yeah, that's a big problem. That's, you and I know that there's a lot of bullshit that we don't agree with, that our way of life, our lifestyle is literally against the vast majority of the population because we go against it. Not because we want to be against that just for the fuck of it, but because everyone look at them, their condition of their lives, right? Everyone is like a sheep. And we've been saying that for a long fucking time. And why I brought it up is because now, exactly like you said, now it's entering our space. Now they are fucking up our way of living, right? Our lifestyle, our own decisions. So it's fucking up with our freedom, basically. You know, a big part of how I make money is going to the States, right? Shit. Meeting with clients over there and doing seminars with you and this and that and moving over there. And just the fact that, the ability to travel, unless they stick something up my ass, like you said, how shitty is that? How shitty is that? And the fact that you cannot come as well, because I mean, Mexico is open, right? Yeah, they'll spread the legs for anyone with fucking money. But when you want to go back to America, now it's the same shit. And sometimes it's not even that; it's the private companies, our airlines themselves. They're imposing this, and this goes back. Just think about history, right? In every moment where someone wanted to impose their values, their belief systems, their things that they thought it was good for the benefit of everyone, what was the fucking result out of that? There's been wars. There's been a lot of, rape, murder. It's like the fucking Inquisition, right? From the Spaniards. Like, oh no, you need to believe in that. Now, I ask people, because it's okay. You don't want to believe in us. You don't want to believe in me. That's fine. That's actually the correct way of approaching it. Don't believe in me. Don't believe in anyone. You put it to the fucking test. Make your own fucking research, right? Because you don't want to be a sheep. But the point is, it's okay. Great. You want to wear a mask? Do it. Go for it. All right. I'm not saying you're a fucking idiot. I don't actually go there into the streets and protest like most people who actually think they're doing their civil, responsible part in life, in society. They shove it down your throat. And that's what's so fucked up about it. You and I and people, like the example that you just gave with Jose, shout out to Jose. God damn, that's so fucked. That's shitty as fuck. And it's just like the beginning, the seeds. Yeah. They're implanting the seeds, and it's almost like it feels like they're testing us. They're playing with us to see how far they can get. They can get with this. They can get away with all this bullshit. And that's what scares me, man. Because at first you and I said like, well, yeah, whatever, fuck it, and this and that. And I saw people yelling at me like, you need to wear your mask and this and that. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I was not getting out of my way just to explain to everyone, hey, you need to listen to me. You are blah, 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 blah. No. Like, okay, man, if you're a sheep, if you want to be a sheep, then continue doing your own shit. Do you, boo-boo, basically. And I was doing my own thing. But now it's getting worse. It's getting more and more and more and more like, yeah, when we're going to fucking force you to do a vaccination, this and that. And that's the point that I want to bring up, that how far are you willing to go to give away your own freedom in disguise of the benefit of public health or the benefit of inclusion? Which brings me to the next topic that I wanted to bring up with you, the emasculation of man, and all these things that now we're not allowed to talk, to say anything, like a video on relationships, and boom, you're banned. Or I don't know, man, just saying I'm a man. Oh shit, be less white, be less manly, be less masculine. I'm like, what the fuck is happening to the world, man? this is, I mean, I laugh about it, but at the same time, I'm like, yo, we gotta do something more. If we were going hardcore before, I think now's the time where we're gonna go actually like 300, like in the movie. We need to go in front of the line and be like, yo, stop this nonsense. It's
Yeah.
okay if you want to be trans, black, white, rainbow color, wear a mask, vaccinate, swab your ass, whatever. That's fine. Just don't try to impose anything onto me the same way that you and I don't try to impose our belief systems onto others. Right? You don't go of your way to say like, hey, you need to do what I do, motherfucker. Like, yeah, man, you want to learn from me? Okay, cool. Come here. I have MS. This. Hey, Pablo, you looks like you're woke. Okay, learn from me. This is. I don't go and preach to the streets and be like, all you motherfuckers are asleep. Y'all need to step the fuck up with your spirituality. I'm like, come on, man. We don't do that. And that's what's, it's sneakily being presented so that the vast majority of people just accept it. And that's what scares me, man. Because all these things, fuck it. I'm not gonna go against it. I'm against it, and I'm willing to stand my ground. This and that. What's fucked up and what scares me the most is that people are accepting it without thinking about it, without, just like, okay, cool. The government says it. Okay, cool. I need to be less white. Okay, cool. It's wrong for me to be a man, actually. I feel bad for being a man. And I'll pass it back to you after this, man. The other day I was watching a series on Amazon, right? And it was the Twilight Zone. Actually, the Twilight Zone. You know that series, right? Pretty fucking cool. But there's an episode where they talk about a disease. They present it as a disease, like, oh, there's something that happens, and that disease, guess what? Guess what it is? Manliness, being a man. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Really? Really? Now they're presenting it as a disease. Oh, they get all strong and they get mad and doing, manly things. And now they present it as a disease. And I was like, this is so fucked up because children are watching this and their parents are watching this and they're saying that onto their children. Man, it's fucked up. So pass it back to you, man.
Man, there's so much I can comment on, bro. Psychologically, that affects people tremendously. And that's why, like, the way they've done it is where people willingly fall into place. Like, yes, it seems forceful to us because we understand what's going on, but to everybody else, they're like, what are you talking about, Pablo and Bryan? They're not forcing anything, right? This is for the greater good. Slow the spread, wear a mask, flatten the curve, right? Which they're just regurgitating talking points from the media, But this has been done for a long time. I mean, how many times have we talked about how history has been deleted and manipulated and changed, right? Look at our own cultures, bro. In our own cultures in South America and Central America, it's frowned upon to be indigenous and embrace your indigenous roots. It's poor to do that, right?
Yeah.
You look anywhere, bro, and you see that. So of course, growing up already, you have. I mean, we can even talk about this like a false sense of identity, or you don't even know what you belong to. I didn't either because I would hear shit like that. I'm like, wait, don't we have that in our blood? And isn't this where we come from? Like, what the fuck do you mean this, this, this? So that was already happening as a child.
Yeah.
So, you grow up and then here being thrown, me especially, into the United States, it's another culture in itself because being American is different than, like our cultures, obviously, right? Every culture is different.
Yeah.
And it's just like and then being a kid, you're just like, fuck. So what do I do? Who am I? Where do I come from? What's my family like? What am I supposed to do? Then you want to be cool and fit in, which is what you see in the movies, right? In the movies, everybody, like the athletes are together. The people who play instruments are together. If you're by yourself, you're a loser. You have to be a part of a group, right? Which again, you graduate now into adulthood and college and being an adult, and you go to social media. Who's attacking us? It's all these groups. It's identity politics because you want to identify to a group. And when you pull those people out, they're all the same. There's nothing individual about each person there. It's just a group of trans or whatever. Now, not all of them, but the ones who go out of the way to attack and are part of this wave of this culture of cancel and all the shit we're talking about, it's them. You see a crowd of them, none of them stand out. They all say the same shit. They sound the same. They basically are the same, right? It's like the same shit we say about our businesses and what we do. I look at real estate, 99% of them all are the same to me. It's just one's taller, one's shorter, one's a little bit fatter, one's skinnier, one's darker, one's lighter, one's a man, and one's a woman. It's the same shit, Even going back to Jose, dude. Oh, I told him, I was like, you know what, bro? You're getting a lot of shit. Let's go live on your account tonight. After I do my Modern Success lecture that we're on, let's go live. He tries to go live, disabled. Instagram disabled his live feature. And I
Fuck.
was ready to go online and shit on all those people, right? Look at them trying to impose themselves even on social media. Isn't social media supposed to be open and free where you, I, and anyone can express their views? Why? Because it's on my page. You don't have to come to my page and impose yourself. What gives you the authority anonymously, by the way? Most people do it anonymously because they're pussies and cowards, right? That's what the internet has allowed. They come to your page and say they disagree. That's fine. But why are you coming to my page and imposing yourself? Then you get mad when I talk shit back or I kick you off. Why? I have the platform and ability and freedom of speech to do it. Why are you coming on my ground? It's like me going to your house, bro, and shitting on your floor. Well, what do you mean, bro? I need a shit. I'm just doing it. You're like, motherfucker, you're in my house. What are you doing? Get out. Go to your own house or shit in the bathroom, right? And then people they'll yell at you and be like, oh, no, you need to include me, Pablo. This is discrimination. I need a shit. You should open your home to me and let me do whatever I want.
Yeah, that's a perfect fucking example, man.
Yeah, we laugh, bro, because
that's what's up.
We understand this. We know what's going on and we're not caught up in it. But to other people, they'll listen to this. Some people will listen to this and say, whoa, there's nothing wrong with what you're saying. What do you mean? Right? So, I look at this topic, and you brought it up earlier that we're supposed to look at both sides, and we do. And just like I mentioned in the very beginning, when I look at the other side without putting any emotion in it, even if we're going to say, like they say, trust the science, right? When I look at the data, they change it all the time and it doesn't add up and make sense. So how could I trust the science if us looking at the information that they provide to say to trust doesn't make sense? You get what I'm saying? So I'm looking at your information, I'm looking at your side, and it doesn't make sense. Please explain it. And then they never explain it. They just get emotional and say you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. So I can't even have a back and forth intelligent conversation with somebody about it because they get upset. And I'm like, present me the information. I'd leave the emotion out. Present me your information. I will assess it and then get back to you. And it never happens. Or I say, look, this information you gave me, this is where it's flawed. This is not accurate. Or again, there's still question marks around this. This isn't 100% yet. So how can I give all my faith and trust into something if I, using my own intelligence, say this doesn't make sense? I ask you to make it clear and you can't make it clear and they can't make it clear. I just heard another show today where somebody asked somebody from the government, the head of Biden's administration, bro, who's heading COVID, the number one guy. They asked him about, well, Florida's open and California's still locked down, but the COVID numbers are the same. What do you have to say about that? You know what he said, bro? He's like, well, we still don't know anything about the virus. It's been a fucking year. And you guys claim to trust the science, and the number one dude that runs it just said live on the air, we don't know about the virus. Are you fucking kidding me? And I'm supposed to trust that? So, that's it for me, bro.
I'm glad you brought it up because that's the next step. Of course, we as a society, as species, we look at our figures of authority, right? Our leaders in quotes, because they're supposed to know, they're supposed to lead, they're supposed to be like, oh, I know more about these subjects, so follow me and I'll show you the best thing. First of all, I believe that's bullshit. I believe that everyone should be their own leader, but of course, that makes the society. Our own leaders worldwide are being so fucking incongruent with all the things that we're talking about right now. That's the number one reason why you shouldn't be trusting all these things, because the people that are saying do these, do that, they're not doing them themselves. So shouldn't that bring up a fucking red alert on your mind and be like, bam, bam, like, wait, hold on a second. You're telling me to use this mask. You're telling me to do that. You're telling me to stay at my home, blah, 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 and you're not doing it. Congruency, being congruent. That's the fucking keyword over here. So the people that are running this whole fucking show, right? If they're not doing it, why the fuck would you want to do it? Why would you do it? Why? Right. That's the keyword that I want to bring. Now, to begin to wrap it up or something like that, because I don't want to do a long episode like we normally do, because otherwise I could just go on and on and on and on. I'm fucking enjoying having this conversation with you, man. But to give a little something for the people that are listening that they can take away from this, because I know that most people that are listening to this are really like, yeah, you know what, this actually makes sense. Okay, but now what do I do? You, brother, being an expert in fucking communication, first of all, what would you say about the sneaky communication or the words that governments, uh,
Mm,
health organizations are using to sneakily,
mm,
subconsciously, the word that they're using, I think they're doing it in a way that most people don't understand it, and that's why they are just embracing it, right? Because they're like, I don't understand the word, and they're using a good word, so I'm just gonna embrace it, accept it, right?
yeah.
So, manipulative communication, that would be the way that I would say it. Maybe you have a better word for it. And how to defend to that. What's one way that you can say right now that how do I defend myself from this? How do I actually see what they're actually trying to say instead of just like, oh, okay, cool, you know,
Yeah.
embrace it.
I mean, great question, bro. There's so much I can say, right? One
Yeah.
thing I would say is this. One thing people need to start really paying attention to is we like, and this is how I can make the best comparison, right? When you look at individuals like me, you, and people who are on this planet who are empowering people, making them stronger mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, right?
Yeah.
What do we typically put everything under, like the umbrella? It's self responsibility, right?
Mhm.
And you, right? You. Whenever from the government you're pushed something that says forget you, it's about everybody in the group, right there,
Mm.
your antenna needs to go up. Because when I look at this scenario and a lot of the language attached to it, it's that. What do they say? Pablo, wear a mask. You're selfish. They attack you
Yeah.
because they're saying you're not important. It's about everybody else. You don't mean shit. That's basically what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
Because what's attached to that, right? And this is where you need to pay attention to. And it's difficult for a lot of people because everybody right now, especially the ones who are suffering more with their jobs and finances, and maybe some people are sick, is everyone's in a heightened emotional state and everything is triggering them.
Yeah.
But you have to learn to control it because when something comes from the other side, it's emotionally charged usually. And that's usually for you to pay attention, because when somebody doesn't have a lot of facts and they don't make sense, they throw emotion at you. You're
Yeah.
selfish is an emotionally charged statement. It's an attack on you. You're selfish. Who likes to be told you're selfish, right? Now we know, obviously, we just laugh when we hear that because that's dumb
Yeah.
shit people say. But some people are like, "Oh, what do you mean? I'm not selfish," and they get into this defensive
Yeah.
mode. Like, what do you
Mhm.
mean? No, I'm not, because they're pointing the finger at you like
Yeah.
this. You're selfish. You're a piece of shit. It's not about you. So
Mhm.
some things I say, right? Like, let's say someone says, are you selfish? Number one, whenever I want to take control of a situation, I point the finger back at people. So my
Yeah.
first response is, why would you say that? Why would you say that I'm selfish? So
Yeah.
I throw a question back at them. Number
Mhm.
two, you
Mhm.
can challenge them if you don't want to throw it back to that. You're selfish. Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? I'm selfish. Now, these two statements that I said, many people say, whoa, that's like confrontational. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it is. But if you think it is the previous statement said to you, is that not confrontational?
Yeah.
For a random motherfucker to come up to you and type on your page or come up to your face and say you're selfish?
Yeah.
Why? And or I say, what gives you the right to say that to me? Well, we're supposed to wear the mask. Says who? Says a government. They don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. I
Yeah.
looked at the information and
Yeah.
I've looked at it myself, the same information that you're trusting, and I've seen enough holes to come to my own conclusion that it's not accurate. Prove to me that it's accurate right now, and I'll put a mask on. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it's if the big advice is hold your ground, because we're not doing that. They're pecking at people and stirring shit.
Mm.
I'm not. I stand my ground. And if anybody comes in my space, then they're met with force,
Yeah.
communication. If they threaten me, we'll whoop their ass, right? I'm not saying promoting violence.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But you have to voice what you know and ask. And I guarantee you, for those of you who ask these questions, those people will walk away from you and they won't bug you because they don't have any facts to stand on. It's all emotions and you're
Yeah.
selfish and you don't care about anybody but yourself. Those are the things that when you hear it, understand you're getting an emotional attack from somebody. And I think the phrase they use here, bro, is they're trying to impose moral superiority
There
on
you
you,
go. Yeah.
right? Moral superiority, like, well, it's for the greater good, right? So
Yeah.
when you see that on the signs, it's for the greater good, save lives. What is
That's the
that?
sneaky
Yeah,
communication. Yeah.
they're trying to impose
Yeah.
moral superiority because,
Yeah.
and that's why, like, when we're out, right? Then I'll pass it back to you. When we're out, you hear me question people, and even the response is like, well, I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right? Like,
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
you don't even sound confident saying that. You're just following what other people say. right? Like I can tell you don't want to do it just with your response. It's so like, well, yeah, but everybody is walk on eggshells. I don't want to offend anybody because that's what got introduced into this thing. I get told all the time, you're insensitive. What do you mean? What do you mean? So because I say something that's factual and you get offended, now I'm insensitive. And you see this sneaky stuff that's been put into the culture, bro. All this stuff like being insensitive, that's that's vague and gray area.
Yeah.
What if tomorrow, let's say women come out and say, oh, I don't want anybody saying hi to me because that offends me when I'm out. I don't want anybody to say anything. So is that going to be against the law now to say hello to somebody?
Yep.
You
We're
know what I'm
heading
saying?
that way.
Where do you draw that line? And everything we've discussed today, just like with this whole mask thing and these mandates and lockdowns, where do you draw the line with that, right? There's no book with the law that says, okay, this is the maximum. It will not exceed this. They're just out of nowhere. Well, mandate here. We sign an executive order. Everything is shut down. Well, that's not even constitutional.
Yep.
And then you challenge it and you get fucking silenced, right? So,
Or thrown into jail if you're in Mexico, man.
Yeah, all this stuff is just very gray area. And that's the most important thing to take from this is when you look at this stuff, a lot of it, you can't like quantify it or point and say, okay, it's this. It's very up in the air. It's very wrapped around emotions and feelings and not facts, right? Yeah. And that's what pisses me off because, again, where does it stop? Where does it begin? Where does it end? Where does it stop? What does it become? Because an attack on even this whole thing with like transgender and having to call people their pronouns, like, oh, zer, z, they, them. Again, shit, that opens the door to legislation if they pass it that has no end.
Yeah.
It has no end. It's crazy, bro. But I mean, that's all I had to share because, again, we can talk about this shit for hours, man, bro. Shit. But it's just, it's ridiculous.
This opens the door for many hours of conversation. And basically, it's about the work that you and I are doing, right? And our friends. It's, you know, this reminds me of being back in fucking high school. If that makes sense, you know, like everyone gets offended. And the moment I love the way that you brought it up is when you were a young kid, right, back in high school, the moment the attention was all onto you, you got all, stiff. You were frozen. You were like, oh, I don't know what to do because you're immature. You're a fucking kid. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to know. You're not supposed to be fully confident and know and have all the self-esteem. You're still developing your identity. You're still developing yourself, right? Your individuality. You're working upon yourself. So the moment the intention was onto you, or the moment a rumor was spread about you, oh, your whole entire world was down to shit. And I'm like, oh man, I feel like shit. Everyone is saying that I'm a piece of shit. Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's society today. I think it's the same way, like in high school. Like society is so immature right now. That is exactly what is happening, right? Yep. What everyone else says is the right thing, the most popular thing, all this bullshit. And do you think it's air you're breathing right now? I think we're heading down, if I can add anything to what you just said, because I don't want to take away anything that you said, man. It was so beautifully put it. It's all about right now the self, the development of the individual. We're going back to that place of don't look up to your governments, don't look up to societies, don't think about the greater good, right? Like literally be selfish. Now that's like the good thing to do right now, but in a positive way. We need to reframe the word selfish and begin to understand, okay, man, I gotta develop my own self. How? Shit. Work on your self-image. How do you identify yourself? How do you want to present yourself? Well, this is who I am, and I don't got to impose myself onto anyone. I'm just working on myself. Like I do not care what others think about how I look. Boom. That's the first thing. Then second thing, speak your truth. Because I know a lot of people that follow us, they're like, yeah, clapping. We're like, yeah, we got to do something. Well, what the fuck are you doing about it? One thing is to agree with it, but then how congruent are you with the things that you say that this is cool, I'm a woke person, whatever? Okay, are you communicating with those around you? Do shows, go online, go fucking, I don't know, do something about it, right? Put your little grain of Salt Bay, add up, just a little bit. But I think this is just about going back to the individual, right? To get to work on your confidence, so that way you can stand your ground, like Bryan said, right? If the attention is onto you. Shit, I love that. Shit, give me the attention. I'll whoop everybody motherfucking ass. In the mind, spiritually, physically, everyone.
Yeah.
Because we love that. We're like, okay, we're ready for that, right? Fucking little Lennon.
Bro,
But
and you said it right. You said it right in a positive way. But the cool thing about what you just said is we brought up the greater good. To effectively create the greater good at the highest level is the improvement and development of self. Imagine if everybody had that level of self-improvement worldwide, and
shit.
everybody raised their consciousness, understood money more, was more empathetic, became a better communicator at an individual level. Imagine the ripple effect that would create through society. That's the improvement of the greater good, bro. But
That's a
again,
change.
what do? They twist the information and say, forget you, you don't exist. It's all about the group.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main problem right now, because the individual has been lost, and it's all about what group you're a part of. Oh, me and you, Pablo, we're Latin American, cis,
Machistas.
trans, woke, non-gender binary, right? And they keep identifying. Now it's not about me and you. It's, oh, we're a part of this group. So the group is bigger than us and we don't exist anymore. And I think that's causing the problem, because at a mental level, that'll destroy somebody. But that's the topic for another fucking podcast.
Yeah, because they're stripping away from your individuality, your identity.
Yeah.
And once they take away that, you're done for, right? It's all over. It's game over. So that's why I think for the people that are listening right now, is begin to develop your own self, to cultivate. That's the word that I'm looking for. Cultivate your mind, cultivate your emotions, cultivate your physical self, right? The way that you eat. Question and cultivate everything that is coming to you, because right now our trust cannot be put onto the collective, the governments, the institutions, because look at them. If you look at them, it's a shit show. It's a fucking, they're clowns, right? It doesn't make any sense. They cannot even be um agree on anything themselves. They don't agree on anything. So right now, that's why I love being into nature, and that's why I always recommend go by yourself, completely alone, disconnect to reconnect. It's something that I love saying right now. Disconnect to reconnect. We should do a fucking event like that. Disconnect to reconnect, because really, just fuck everyone, fuck all the social media, the governments, the news, everything, whatever your friends, your family, whatever everyone else is saying, and go back to the ground, to the grounds, to the foundation, to the most fundamental thing, which is you. And like Bryan said, the greater good and the change that we all want to see in the fucking world starts with yourself. And I love the way that you said it, man. So, is there anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, man. Let's connect in a positive way.
Yeah, you know what they gotta do? People are listening. You just gotta keep the momentum, never keep the faith. And the
one more thing I want to plug real quick. One more thing, right? So we talked about the individual being stripped, and then it being about the group. One possibility of that being dangerous, so people understand what I'm saying, because that may not have connected yet. Think of like people who have sacrificed themselves in the name of something, right? Like, let's say like the kamikazes in Japan that went to Pearl Harbor and destroyed themselves, right? Okay. And let's forget now, well, it was a good cause or not, just for a second, right? This is a potential thing that can happen, right? Or somebody who has killed themselves, or a suicide bomber, whatever it is, right? For somebody to put themselves in a state to literally sacrifice their life like that for something, it's because of the greater good. Now, that can be done in a positive way, of course, right? Like you think of war, let's say nations warred or whatever, and you had to do it and step up as a man. Okay, that's a worthy sacrifice in that sense. But the opposite also exists, and you have to get it. So a lot of people can be brainwashed to literally sacrifice their lives or everything about them for this, in quotes, greater good or greater cause. So that's why having that dynamic in place is extremely important. And you have to be very careful, man, because it can go wrong very easily. And people don't look at it that way. They're just like, they think of the good ones, like, oh, I went to war and I sacrificed myself. Okay, great. That's one side of the spectrum. How about the other side? When people have been horribly sacrificed for something that didn't mean shit, or they got brainwashed into doing, right? And that's the key that people miss, dude. Because think about that, right? And we know plenty of people who could easily be manipulated to that point, and they would kill themselves, right? And then the next life, you would slap them and be like, "Come on, bro, what the fuck were you doing?"
Shit. Yeah, that's it's very dangerous what we're talking about. That's why I think you and I laugh about it, because we're on that level. But seriously speaking, man, this is This is very dangerous. We're heading down a path that is very fucking dangerous. And pretty soon we're going to have to make a stand. Or we're already doing it. I know you're already doing it. You're making a fucking statement. Your life is the fucking statement, right? And that's the point. That's the whole point, that your life should be your message. But it's dangerous, man, where we're heading. And the way that it's being presented, there's no stopping. Just like you say, there's no fucking, where does it end? And I love what you said, this example of people sacrificing themselves for the greater good. Yeah, that happens. And actually, that's what it happened for creating the world that we live in today. Because we live in a great world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining about the world. Shit, we have a lot of things going on for ourselves right now. We have many opportunities because of the people that sacrifice themselves. But the people that sacrifice themselves for the greater good, they had first and foremost to be very strong mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So that brings up again the development of the self, the individuality. For someone, like the Spartans, they sacrificed themselves. 3 motherfucking Spartans sacrificed themselves for the greater good, right? They knew they were
Yeah.
gonna die. Why? But they were fucking strong. They were prepared for that.
Yeah.
So again, if you want to sacrifice yourself, you have to be strong mentally, spiritually, physically. You have to develop yourself, and that also brings the if you want to develop yourself, to cultivate yourself, you got to question the things around you. You don't just take shit for granted. You're like, okay, let me assess the information that is being presented. Let me see if it works for me. Shit, not just following orders like a goddamn sheep. And I think that sums up that's about it, man, because we covered a lot. There's a lot to digest for the people that are listening right now. And
Yeah.
I love that, we can talk about it, because shit, pretty soon we're not going to be able to talk about this shit. God damn shit.
I know they'll jump on the Zoom live while we're recording and kick us off.
You're like, oh no, it goes against our policies. You're offensive.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
Insensitive. You're insensitive to
It's,
Mexico, Pablo.
man, what the fuck does that even mean? Insensitive. You're insensitive. My nipples, man, are insensitive. Shit. It's
I
those
don't know.
sneaky words,
And that's
man.
vague. That's vague
That's so vague.
vocabulary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid, bro. It's stupid, but
Those words, like you and I always talk about, those words that are so vague, they are the ones that they love using, so that
yep.
the interpretation can be done in so many different ways, so that you're all fucked up in the brain. But yeah, and everyone is emotional right now, because every time I want to talk about this or bring it up to someone else that doesn't have your level of consciousness, man, everyone's like, or with a stupid face, like that, the fluoride
The
look.
fluoride look.
They don't fucking understand, or they get so emotional, like, oh no, you're fucking wrong about us. I'm like, god damn, that's why
well, Pablo, wait until somebody dies from the virus, and then you'll understand why
always.
this is so
Well,
serious.
my cousin's she died out of COVID. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. You don't know shit. All right. So
Even that. What is the mortality rate? 0.3%. So if somebody died, I'm sorry, that sucks. But that means they were part of the 0.3%. It still doesn't change the facts.
it's not even, the death rate right now of fucking the pandemic. It's not even it shouldn't be called a pandemic,
Right.
because the percent for a virus to be called a pandemic, it should be 3%. And this is not even the fucking, it's 2.01 or 1 point, it's not even up to
Yeah.
3% of death rate. So it's
Mhm.
not, it's illegal to call it fucking pandemic. But of course the
Yeah.
media and all these things, that they're attacking us. And I don't want to sound
Crazy.
like fucking Alex Jones, like we're in a war. But it seems like it. It seems like we're in a fucking war, a mental war, right? The third world war is a fucking mental war. And if you're not prepared, this is the first level. This is the first line of defense. Your mind, your gut, your heart, and the brain. And if you don't take care of that, we're in a war. People are fucking Alex
Whoa.
Jones. Shit, man. But yeah, I appreciate your time, brother. Probably we want to do this also in Spanish. Para todos los compitas. For the people that speak
Simon.
Spanish, also we'll do another one in Spanish pretty soon, all right? But I appreciate your time, brother.
Well, thanks for having me, bro. These are always fun, man. And we can get on and chat. We wanted to do a short episode, and what we did almost an hour.
I think so. Damn, shit. But people gotta listen to these, man. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this. This is the Fashion Matrix podcast. Remember that you can follow Bryan at Bryan Casella. And if you want to follow me, just follow me at Pablo Mentor. Go to bryancasella.com, go to pablomentor.com, support the war. I'm just joking, man. If you want to learn more about what Bryan's talking about, he has a group, Modern Success, where he'll teach you more, way more about all these things. And if you want to contact me about, getting your spirituality going on or your image going on, just go to Pablo Mentor. All right. Thank you for listening. Until the next one, be the best version of yourself. Later.